This brand is taking the knife collector world by storm. The reason is they individualize a lot of their knives. Each blade is serialized, and while the knives are made by Bestech, they're actually engineered right here in the US. This is Vero Engineering Nova, one of the latest models designed from the ground up by a talented young engineer named Joseph Vero. And don't call him Joe, or his sister and a business partner, Dina Marie, will nail you to the wall. Some of them are actually reground by Joseph Vero himself, but even when they're not, they're still, to me, constitute a piece of knife-related art, while simultaneously being a piece of exacting quality in production. A skeptic may say, oh, wait a second, it's a frame lock. What can be so highly technical about it? Watch this video and you will find out. Comparing them to mass-produced knives is basically unfair to the mass-produced knives. So I'm comparing Vero to Vero, and here's Chris Reeve, Omnizon, a yet unchallenged king of grails. All Vero knives that I yet encountered follow one common thread: high-end finishes on all parts, high-end selection of materials, and a very high quality of manufacturing and precision in assembly.
M390 steel blade, black wash body, titanium hardware. Highest bidder in 27 seconds wins this. So we're just gonna hang out for 23 more seconds. $350 MSRP. CBRX Live 301. Perfect. I'm glad somebody got a deal on that. GG.
So I have pretty high expectations going into this review. And jumping ahead, I will say not all of them were justified. Let's take some measurements. The overall length is 8¼ inch or 209 millimeters. The blade length is 3 9/16 of an inch or 94 millimeters. Behind the edge thickness is 17 thousandths of an inch, which is pretty insane for a blade that is 1 9/16 inch or 34 millimeters wide and 155 thousandths of an inch or 4 millimeters thick. All these measurements together place it into a heavy-duty slicer category. And speaking of the weight, it is 158 grams or 5.6 ounces. So let's banter about the OEM, Bestech. It operates under its parent company called Yangjiang Outdoors Winner Industries. Yangjiang is a city located in the Economic Free Zone, province of Guangdong, People's Republic of China. Yangjiang City is often compared to Zollingen of Germany or Seki City, Japan, where the art of knife making existed for centuries. And this knife, Draw 17 Bentley, was made there by the same people. The thing I admire most about Joseph Vero's designs is he's not chasing the latest trends. Look at this unusual and exquisite blade shape, which is not in your face. No complex grinds, just simplicity and laconic language of the artist's mind, but mixed with some serious badassery. To disassemble a Nova, you will need a T10 driver bit for the pivot and T8 for everything else. There are only 6 screws in the construction of this knife. Almost all of the hardware is machined out of titanium. The exception is the pivot nut or the stem, which is stainless steel. The blade rides on single row brass bound ceramic ball bearings. The most amazing piece in this construction is the backspacer. I'll get into it during the assembly segment. For now, the only complaint I have about quality of assembly is there's a little too much Loctite on one of the screws, and that happened on both Novas that I own. I feel well compensated though by this amazing pocket clip that Vero designs individually for each model. It's probably the best, without exaggeration, pocket clip in the market today, milled out of titanium. That's what I noticed about Joseph's designs ever since I got my first Vero, which was that Lux. He does not make features that are meaningless. Everything in the knife contributes to its functionality. As any engineer worth his paycheck, he takes a system level approach to his design, starting with what functionality he's trying to achieve and then designing components to fit that functionality, and not the other way around. And here's my El Cheapo Amazon microscope with a camera. It plugs in into any handheld or tablet via USB-C, and it has this app that projects whatever it sees on the screen, or you can record a video or even take a still photo. I'm going to look at the edge close up, and you will discover a value of having a magnifying device with you when you shop for knives. Again, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Looking at the straight portion of the blade, I don't see any evidence of stropping, so that white line is most likely a little bit of a burr left behind. That's pretty common on production knives. Checking a different spot on the blade, same story, and that's where the fun began. Look at this tip. This is hilarious. I can't say I've ever seen anything like that. Usually people that are not super experienced at sharpening take too much material off the tip, rounding it off in one direction or another. Here they left like a little hump or shark fin on the very tip. That's crazy. So I grabbed the other Nova and straight away looking at the tip, and thank goodness I don't see any issues. Perfectly formed tip, and the edge has clear evidence of stropping. Let me adjust the view here. You can see that it convexes down toward the apex. So I should say it was honed on the belt by the looks of it. And rotating apex toward the camera, you can see that the line disappears. It's almost invisible, meaning there's no burr, and it's a very well sharpened blade. I don't know why the two are different. I'm just reporting my findings. I start all my hardness tests by validating the calibration of my Rockwell tester using this independently certified, serialized, and rated 62 HRC calibration plate. This video segment is sped up 2x for your time's sake, but it's continuous, uninterrupted, and unedited. But you need to understand this. Blades are typically made in batches, and the hardness can vary from blade to blade within the same batch. And let's see how we calibrate it. We're spot on at 62.1 HRC. This is well within the calibration standards. I'm starting with blade number 584, which is the one that came on the knife with a black handle. The steel is not marked on the blade. However, the website, Vero Engineering, states that it's made out of M390 Bowler steel, specifically designed as a cutting tool steel for harsh environments. The first test yields 61.8 HRC. Most manufacturers shoot for 60 to 62 HRC for this steel because this hardness range offers the perfect balance between edge retention, toughness, and corrosion resistance. M390 is extremely corrosion-resistant steel. The second measurement is 61.7 HRC. In this hardness range, this steel will perform on par with MagnaCut. However, MagnaCut can be hardened into 62 to 64 HRC range, where it will outperform M390 in toughness and edge retention. We got 61.9 HRC for an average of 61.8 HRC. Moving on to blade number 478 that came off of the customized Nova. Fasten your seatbelts. We're going for 3 more pokes. Woohoo! Thanks to everyone who watches this entire segment. As you can see, there's a lot of work that goes in this video. Please join me in thanking all other folks who do this type of testing and sacrifice their time for the sake of the community. I measure 61.2 HRC on the first poke. That is still on the high end of the ideal range of 60 to 62 HRC. I would also like to thank my channel members who contribute about $4 on a monthly basis to support my channel. 61.2 HRC again, pretty consistent measurements so far. It is possible to push M390 past 62 marker, but it would significantly increase the cost of the knife due to additional tempering cycle, which is pretty elaborate, and the performance increase would be marginal. 61.3 HRC on the third poke, and the average is 61.2 HRC. Here are the blades side by side, but don't go anywhere because I still have to share my findings when I reassemble the knife and address this funny tip. Here's my opinion of this knife as an engineer. Every element, every feature is designed to serve some purpose, which translates into either reliability or end-user excellence of experience. Take those 3 pins. They all serve different purposes, but they also have a common purpose, and that is to locate the backspacer without interfering with parallelism of the scales. The backspacer not only assures parallelism of the scales, but it also accommodates the lanyard provision. And on the front of this backspacer, there are these 2 whiskers that go around the front pin. That is there to ensure adjustability of tension around the pivot. And that's the order I am reassembling it in. And it might be a wrong order, but it worked out for me. First I put this small locating pin at the back of the spacer. Make sure that the whiskers are fully engaged with the front pin. I pre-installed the middle pin on the opposite scale for convenience. And by the way, I'm using the middle length screw, which is not threaded through the pin, it just sits there very snugly. And now I place the last of the 3 pins in the rear hole and grab the pivot barrel, which has a locating feature. And when you insert it into the pivot hole from the show side like this, you just need to make sure that that locating feature is pointing toward the rear of the handle. The first bearing goes onto the pivot barrel, and now I am ready to drop in the blade. And be aware that when you rotate the blade, it can rotate the pivot barrel as well and point the locating feature in the wrong direction. So there's no locating feature on the show scale, it's only on the clip scale. And please do notice the detent ball ramp on the back of the blade right there. That ensures smooth operation. They didn't spare any steps. They went all out to make sure this knife is extremely fidgety. And now all I have to do is drop the clip side scale onto the assembly. And there's plenty of alignment features. And now that I pre-positioned the middle screw, all I have to do is thread it in. It threads into the opposite scale, and it's a blind hole. The thread span is pretty short, so I do not recommend any Loctite for this screw. And now that the knife is kind of together, I can drop in the shortest screws that hold the stop pin in place. A word of caution, make sure that those whiskers on the backspacer are fully engaged with the stop pin, or you will encounter some trouble. This knife is extremely corrosion resistant because the steel components only touch titanium, or fasteners are titanium on titanium, no dissimilarity there, and the blade is only engaging ceramic balls, which are also corrosion free. So there is no dissimilar metal touching another, and that means no galvanic corrosion. Remember the locating feature on the pivot barrel it doesn't only locate the barrel to the scale, it also sets the spacing or how much you can tighten the pivot screw. Why did Joseph design it that way? You see, right now the blade is not centered because the pivot screw is not properly torqued. But watch what happens as I'm torquing the pivot. The blade goes to center. When you torque the pivot screw, you are not applying too much pressure on the bearings because of that locating feature having a step and setting the distance. So basically you're tightening the pivot screw to the pivot barrel and not to the scales or the bearings. And here I feel like I might have over torqued it just slightly, so the pivot barrel is locking up. So I'm going to back it out maybe 1/16 of a turn, just a hair, and try it again. You have a little bit of leeway in that regard. And I think the reason you have that leeway is those whiskers on the stop pin, they actually allow the scales to adjust just enough to give you the smooth function. Yeah, I'm having difficulty with a squared off slot on the blade when I try thumb deployment, but your experience may vary. Did I mention the knife has a perfect balance as well? Now let's talk about the pocket clip. It is not really milled. I looked at some other pocket clips they make for fixed blades, sheaths, and they appear to be EDM'd or wire EDM, meaning it's an electrical process that doesn't take away any internal structure from the metal. So in other words, that titanium is at its peak performance as far as toughness goes. And now I'm just tightening. Again, very minimal torque, 12 to 15 inch-pounds is plenty. That's barely past hand tight. Because titanium screw engages titanium, no Loctite is necessary. Titanium is kind of viscous and abrasive, so the threads will lock in together quite nicely without any chemical.